Hi everyone, how are you doing? How are you this week? I'm very fine. My name is Evelyn Ikandi, Evermwende, a psychotherapist, here to talk to you about a very interesting topic. We're talking about ego defense mechanisms people use when faced with undesirable life situations. So I pose the question to you: what ego defense mechanism do you use when faced with an uncomfortable life situation? Because in most life situations, every time you're faced with a challenge, the first thing you either do is fight that issue or take off, either fight or flight. So when you choose to fight it, how do you fight it? One of the ways people fight their undesirable life experiences is through the use of ego defense mechanisms. And that's what you're talking about today. Yeah? So welcome. Let's have this talk and tell me which ego defense mechanism you use most when faced with challenges. Of course, very undesirable situations. Yes, ego defense mechanisms help us to cope with anxiety and to prevent the ego from being overwhelmed. We all have an ego, and there's a way the ego protects itself from being overwhelmed by life situations, challenges, just difficult and uncomfortable situations. So the father of psychology, Sigmund Freud, explained how we get anxious, and these anxieties can lead us to just have sometimes anxiety can be neurotic, just abnormal anxiety, and can lead to more complications. But today we're talking about how people cope with anxiety through ego defense mechanisms, especially after an undesirable life experience. Yeah, and it's okay to use a defense mechanism, but it's not okay to use it for too long. It's okay because our systems have a way of coping with every situation around us, especially the undesirable situations, uncomfortable situations. So it's very okay. It's very okay to have a defense, but not okay to have it for too long. When it's prolonged, it becomes a personality disorder. Becomes a personality disorder. Yes. So here are some of the ego defense mechanisms we use. One is repression. Repression is a way of blocking the undesirable life experiences from awareness. You go through a very traumatic life experience, it's just too traumatic. So there's a way the ego just blocks it from awareness. You don't think about it, you don't remember it. It's somewhere tucked in your mind. It's in the unconscious. Especially childhood experiences that are very traumatic, they are very easy to repress. And unless someone draws them out, stirs you gently to just express them and talk about them, they may not be so easy to remember. Repression, just a way of blocking things from existing. According to you, it doesn't exist. It didn't happen. For example, you were defiled as a child, and the mind just, most of the time, the unconscious has a way of taking care of our memories, our desires, and sometimes most of the undesirable things, the painful memories, the painful things that we've gone through, experiences, the unconscious tucks it in. So once it's tucked, it's safe there. But the moment it starts coming out, we are said to be abnormal or psychologically sick. So repression is one way of the ego defending itself from discomforts in life or uncomfortable life situations. Repression. Number 2 is denial. Just as simple as it is, it's distorting the perception of the reality. Something has happened, but you choose to distort how you perceive it. You choose to distort how you see it. Maybe somebody has passed away and you choose to say, no, they've just gone on a journey, they are coming back. Or no, they're sleeping, they will wake up. The mind just refuses to accept the reality that this person is dead. Have you seen people who also deny to accept their age, and they don't dress their age? And you ask them, mbona una dress hivi siku hizi? Si miaka yako inasonga unazaa. They tell you, mzee ni wewe. This person could be in denial, and we see it by their actions. And it's okay to deny some of these things for a while. It helps us. Can you imagine somebody accepting that they're already old and dressing like this show? Sometimes defense mechanisms are good, but when they are overused or prolonged, overused, they pose danger to our personality. Okay? Denial. We deny situations that are just painful and undesirable. Somebody could be divorced today, and the husband wants them out of their matrimonial home. But because they have refused to accept the reality that they have been divorced, they stick in that house and say, no, he's just joking about it. It can't be serious. He can't divorce me. He'll just come around. He'll change his mind. They are in denial. They refuse to accept the reality. Denial. The other defense mechanism people use a lot is reaction formation. Reaction formation is where you express the opposite of a threatening impact. You feel like doing something that's undesirable, so you develop an opposite of that desire, so that you don't express the undesirable one. You see, for example, somebody desires to, it's not desirable, it's not acceptable to sleep with a child. So you have a desire maybe to have sex with this young child. You have these pedophile tendencies. Of course, you suppress that desire, and maybe you just end up going for a mature person. That is reaction formation, where you go for the opposite of the desired impulse that you had. Projection is another defense mechanism. Projection, where you, yani ni kama kuekelea mtu kitu yenye wewe ndio ulifanya, lakini unakana na unaekelea watu. You know, you attribute to others one's own unacceptable desire or impulses. You've done something or you desire something, but you desire to shift it to other people. You shift the blame on other people. You attribute it to other people. And I think a lot of our politicians use this projection, you know. Somebody has bad tendencies, they tend to accuse others of those tendencies. You know, for example, someone has been accused of corruption and they're busy accusing others of corruption. They're projecting their issues to these people. Rationalization is another defense mechanism. When you rationalize, you just explain things very simply. Something so serious has happened, but you explain it. No, it's okay. Everything is going to be fine. Let me give you an example. This is a woman who's being battered daily by her husband. And everybody tells her, why don't you leave this guy? He's going to kill you. He's going to hurt you. No, ni stress tu zinamsumbua, you know. They'll always explain it like, no, don't worry. Alikuwa tu na kisirani jana, that's why alinichapa. Yet this thing is getting out of hand. So rationalization is just a way of explaining things in a simple way. You don't want to face the reality that these things could be getting out of hand. So just explain it simply. Rationalization, and I think we use this a lot. Personally, I think I use this a lot. You know, just explain things in a way. It helps to justify behavior, and it aids in softening the blow connected with the disappointment, especially when people are very disappointed. You want to soften that blow of disappointment. Sijaachwa bado. He's just having fun with her. Alafu atanirudi. You know, we console ourselves. Ushaachwa, but you just explain it. No, it's okay. It's okay to use it, but for a long time, is dangerous. When you, for example, rationalize very serious things within a period of time, you will definitely, everyone will look at you as abnormal, because you can't be explaining very serious things in a very simple way and not taking them serious. It's okay to explain them away just to shield yourself from the pain of accepting the reality, but with time, a normal person is expected to swallow the pill, slowly accept the reality. Sublimation is another defense mechanism. It's a redirection of sexual aggression or aggressive energy into other channels, especially sexual or aggressive energy. You know, when somebody wants to be violent, you know, that aggressive behavior that's physical. You find somebody feels like, you just feel like you want to beat them up. Then when they come close to you, just hug them. You sublimated that bad energy, you sublimated that feeling. It's a defense mechanism of sorts. But can you imagine doing that every day? Every time you're angry with people, instead of showing them the anger, you just go, hey, it's okay. You hug them. Yet deep inside, you're like, well, ningekupata na kuvunja, you know? That's sublimation. It's a defense mechanism. How often do you use it? Regression is also a very interesting defense mechanism. This is reverting to a form of behavior that you've already outgrown. Like, you know, somebody behaving not their age. Mtu ako na utoto, utoi, you know. They do something good like, mbona anajifanya kama mtu mdogo, ajifanye kama miaka yake. You know, anavyojibeba si kama miaka yake. But sometimes somebody will behave in a way, you know, in a manner to suggest, I mean, like they are retrogressing. They are going back to a stage they've already outgrown. But it's a defense mechanism. Sometimes you will find yourself hurt and you cry like a baby because you want this attention. Most of the time, I think regression is used when people really don't want to be rejected. When rejection presents itself, people can use regression to defend themselves from rejection. I also see a bit of that in sick people, people who have been taken care of when they are sick, and their caregiver suddenly is so tired, they are so burnt out, they cannot help this sick person maybe to the toilet, and this sick person is already recovering, has the strength to go to the toilet by themselves, but because they feel if they act normal, if they act healed, they'll not get the attention they needed. So sometimes regression has to do with attention seeking, not wanting to be rejected. Yes, that's regression. Yes, introjection. Introjection is when you take up other people's values to please them. Other people's values could be good or bad values. It happens especially, we can call this more of a peer pressure kind of defense mechanism. You want to please people because you don't want to be rejected. So you just end up adopting their values. I imagine this is a lady married to a Muslim, she's a Christian, so she just has to adopt the Muslim values to please this husband so that asikwe rejected, your marriage is issue. That's a bit of introjection, where you embrace other people's values to identify with them so that they don't reject you. Identification is another very interesting defense mechanism, but mostly it's more of children identifying with their roles. It's a defense mechanism where you can just choose, not only children, even adults. You are a wife, so you want to be this wife material, so you identify with the role of a wife more, so that most of these defense mechanisms have to be more, we want to be accepted more, want to be appreciated more. Nobody wants to feel rejected. Compensation, masking perceived weaknesses or developing certain positive traits to make up for limitations. Compensation. You have weaknesses, but you work so hard to cover up for those weaknesses in something else. It can happen consciously or unconsciously. We have people who compensate unconsciously. So you find yourself doing things to cover up for a certain weakness. Like you find yourself having come from a very poor background. Some people will work so hard to cover up for that poverty that when they present themselves in future, you will not believe they're from such a poor background because they work so hard to compensate. It's a defense mechanism that worked for their good throughout their life as they were trying hard to get rid of the poverty they had in their childhood or in their background. So defense mechanisms can be good. They can be good because sometimes they help us, they shield us from temporary pain, but they can damage our personality, especially if we use them for long. Prolonged use of defense mechanism can affect our personalities. So which ego defense mechanism do you use to shield yourself from pain? Do you feel you have overused it? Or do you feel you use it short term and then later on face the pain? Because what happens is you need to use it short term. It's just we are temporarily shield from the pain. Because some of this pain we go through in life can be too much, too overwhelming. The rejections people face, the violence people face, victimization, disappointments of life. People face a lot of issues in life that make them they call for defense mechanisms to be used, but don't overuse them. Don't overuse defense mechanisms. When you find yourself overusing a defense mechanism, please see a therapist so that the therapist helps you to undo and do it. And then look at your loved ones. Could they be overusing a defense mechanism? Maybe they are regressing daily for you to accept them. They are behaving like this baby, They want to be babied around, and you're like, well, see you grow up, behave like an adult, behave your age, Kumbe, it's just a defense mechanism so that they are more accepted and they are more appreciated because maybe they feel rejected and not accepted. Yeah, so what do you think about this topic? Which defense mechanism do you use most? I said I used rationalization a lot. I explain things very easily. You hurt me so badly, I just go like, no, it's okay. Hakuwa anajua kile anafanya. Or they didn't intend to do it. I'll try to explain that pain, so that I don't take it in. But when they do it again and again and I have to explain it, then there's a problem. If you have to rationalize everything people do to you, it means you're not facing the reality. You're being a doormat, letting people walk all over you. You need to wake up and face the reality. Are they misusing you? Are they abusing you? Face it. And sometimes it's good to assess yourself if you have the resources to face whatever challenge it is. If you feel you don't have the resources, sometimes it's also good to use the defense mechanism in the short term as you find coping skills. Because there's always a coping mechanism for every challenge that presents itself, not necessarily through defense mechanisms. So thank you so much for watching this, and stay tuned into my channel. Thank you.